Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another dupes video, which I am so excited about because I know how much you love dupes. I love putting these videos together. I just think they are so much fun. And special shout out to e.l.f. Cosmetics, who is sponsoring today's video. I've been such a huge fan of their brand for such a long time, as many of you guys know who have been here on my channel. So I am just super excited to be working with them. And honestly, I was planning to do this video anyway because you guys know how much I love doing my one brand dupes. So I've been kind of compiling this list for a long time now, just trying to come up with enough to do a full face of dupes. And the product that really inspired me to do this video in the first place was e.l.f.'s Camo CC Cream. I was wearing this so much over the summer. I loved how it had the SPF 30. So it reminded me a lot of the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. And I thought, you know, what a great dupe. I would love to put these head to head at some point, because this CC cream, I just kept finding myself reaching for it over and over again, so much so that I just decided I wasn't going to replace my IT Cosmetics because this one is so much more affordable. So then I thought, let me just look through my collection and see how many other e.l.f. dupes I could find within the brand. And I've been putting this list together, like I said, for quite a while now. So let's go ahead and jump in and do a full face, and I'll show you everything that I am wearing right now. Okay, so let's start out with primer, and today I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer on one side and the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer on the other. So the e.l.f. is $10 while the Milk Makeup is $34. So there's quite a big price difference there, and these have literally the identical feel going onto your skin. I don't believe the ingredients are exactly the same, but they both have this gel-like texture that leaves a little bit of a tacky base behind it for makeup to grip to, and they really feel almost identical. So I'm going to start with the e.l.f. on this side, and this one does have a little bit of a watermelon scent. It's very pleasant. It's not anything too strong or too crazy, and it actually feels so cooling and refreshing, which I really like. And even though I normally use pore blurring primers, I do think that this gives just such a nice canvas to apply makeup, especially if you want your makeup to last a little bit longer. And it also seems to add a little bit of hydration to my dry skin, which I like as well. And then on this side, we have the Milk Makeup Primer. This one does not have any kind of scent to it, but it has the exact same cooling sensation going on the skin. It just feels really nice and refreshing. And again, just leaves behind that tacky base to help makeup grip a little bit better. So I really don't see or feel any difference between these two sides. My skin on both sides has a little bit of glow, and it has that little hint of stickiness that I think is going to be great for helping my makeup to grip a little bit better. Next up is the product that inspired this video, and it is the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream, and I have mine in the shade Light 210N, and I'm going to be comparing it to the IT Cosmetics CC Cream in the shade Light. So you are going to see when the Camo Cream goes on that it's a little bit too deep for me now. This is the one that I was wearing all summer, and I had a little bit more color to my face. I do have a lighter shade, which is Fair 150C. This has a cool undertone, and it's a really good match for my skin in the winter time. But when I'm comparing it to the IT Cosmetics, this one is also a little bit deeper than my skin tone. So I didn't want to go deeper on one side of my face and then really light on the other side, because it just wouldn't match up. So I feel like these two are a little bit more comparable, but they're still not exactly the same color. So I'll show you guys some swatches up close really quick. So the Camo CC Cream from e.l.f. is $14, while the IT Cosmetics CC Cream is $39.50. So again, it's a huge price difference between the two. And I also think as far as the colors go, the e.l.f. is just a better color overall. I find the IT Cosmetics one to look a little bit grayish. It has a strange undertone that doesn't really suit my complexion very well. And I also find that the shade range is just a lot better. They call out the undertones, and it's just really easy to find a more suitable match for your skin than it is with the IT Cosmetics having just like fair and fair light and light. So I definitely prefer the e.l.f. right away just for that. So let's go ahead and put these on, and we'll start with the e.l.f. side first. I'm going to be using a damp sponge to apply it. And I really love the coverage on this. When I use this, I don't even really need to use concealer, honestly, because it just hides everything that I want it to. and it leaves such a beautiful skin-like finish. It feels kind of like a tinted moisturizer, but just with way more coverage. So I really love that. And like I said, because of the SPF, I was using it all summer long. It just was a really great like 2-in-1 product. Another thing I really love about this product is that you can build it up and it doesn't get cakey like some foundations do. And that's actually really important to me as somebody with very dry skin, and also I'm over 40, so a lot of foundations can tend to just look really heavy, really cakey on me and settle into places that I don't want them to. And this just looks so flawless, and it just looks like my natural skin, but yet it gives me the coverage that I want. So it's really, truly the best of both worlds. Okay, so yeah, you can definitely see all the coverage. It takes all my redness away. It hides my dark spots, not completely, but I don't normally go for like a very full coverage look. I like just a medium coverage, and I think this is just perfect for that. If you use a brush versus a sponge, you will get a little bit more coverage. And like I said, I could always build up another layer if there's more that I want to cover, but usually I just leave it like this, and that's completely perfect. So let's go ahead now and apply the IT Cosmetics. And one thing that I'll say about this, I mean, I've actually been using this for years and years, and I don't like the scent of it. I did notice that the e.l.f. one is completely unscented, and this has kind of like an odd scent. I'm not quite sure, I can't place what it is, but it's not my favorite scent in the world, and it does kind of linger throughout the day as well. So that's another reason that I like the e.l.f. a little bit better than this one as well. But I do think that this gives you just a very, very similar coverage, a very similar finish with that little like hint of a glow, but nothing too shiny. It's really almost like I'm applying the same product, yet the e.l.f. is so much less expensive. I think the color is slightly off between the two sides of my face, but it's nothing too drastic. And I think once I put the rest of my makeup on, we probably won't even notice. Okay, so both sides are done. I'm just gonna show you guys a quick close-up so you can see just pores, texture, everything, and just how nicely this actually sits on my skin. Okay, so moving on to brows, I'm going to be using the Haus Labs The Edge Precision Brow Pencil. This is in the shade Ash Brown, and I talked about this a couple videos back now, how much I really love this brow pencil, because not only is it an ultra precise fine line, but the color Ash Brown is just the perfect cool tone that I've been looking for. But then as I was using it, I kind of remembered that I already had one from e.l.f. that was so much cheaper, and this is the ultra precise brow pencil in the shade Cool Brown. So this one is also a very good cool tone color if you struggle with brow pencils being a little bit too warm for you. It also has a very, very similar tiny tip, and it's so much less expensive. The e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil is only $5, and the Haus Labs one will run you $20. So there's a really big difference there, and I find that they both draw on the same exact way. They're both very easy to get those super precise hair-like strokes, and both pencils are not waxy, they're not smudgy, they really grip to your skin really well. So I'm going to use the e.l.f. one on this side. And to be honest, I'm not the best at doing my brows on camera, so bear with me. And I don't know about you guys, but I tend to go through brow pencils so quickly that it just makes sense to have something that's more affordable, because I'm constantly repurchasing them every couple of weeks, it seems like. So if you find one that's really affordable, it kind of makes sense to stick with that one. All right, and then we have the Haus Labs. I mean, I really do like this brow pencil. I think it's super nice. But it's just kind of hard for me to say like, oh, I'm going to repurchase it again if I already have something so similar that is so much more affordable. Okay, so I am noticing that the e.l.f. one is just a little bit darker than the Haus Labs, so hopefully that's not going to bother anybody looking at that on camera. The colors are not exactly the same, but I do really love the ashy tone of both of them. I think neither one is like a super warm color, so those are awesome. Let's move on to brow gel next, and I'm going to use the Gimme Brow from Benefit on this side. So Gimme Brow I've been using again for years and years, but I haven't actually purchased it in a long time time. I've been using one from e.l.f. that is so much more affordable, and I just bought this little mini size for the video so that we could compare the two. And it's just such a good brow gel because it has those little fibers. It kind of adds a little bit of volume to your brows, and it also gives them hold without being stiff and crunchy. And the more affordable version that I found is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. So the Benefit will run you $24 for the full size, while the Wow Brow from e.l.f. is only $4. They both have a really similar small brush, and just like the Benefit, the e.l.f. one also has those little tiny fibers in the formula, and it gives that same really soft hold without being crunchy. So for me, it's just a no-brainer to just keep buying the e.l.f. one because it literally does the exact same thing. And then we'll do the Benefit one on this side. This shade, whatever it is, it doesn't say on the tube, but this one is also a little bit warmer than the e.l.f. one. All right, so now that brows are done, we're gonna move on to eyeshadow palettes, and I wanted to use my Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette. I really enjoy this palette a lot. I think it's so cute. I've traveled with it so many times. It's just a really great neutral palette, but there is a really good dupe for it, and that's the e.l.f. Bite Size palette in the shade Cream and Sugar. So these are almost identical, except the e.l.f. is missing one shade. It has 4, while the Natasha Denona has 5, but you can get such similar looks out of both of these palettes, and the Natasha Denona will run you $25 while the e.l.f. is only $3, which is absolutely incredible, and the formulas are so good. As you can see in the swatches, I feel like the shimmer shades in the e.l.f. palette have just as much shine and that metallic look as the Natasha Denona do, and also I think the mattes look really comparable as well. They're both very nicely pigmented. I think the biggest difference I see between these two palettes, other than that the e.l.f. is missing a shimmer shade, is that the crease color in the Natasha Denona one is a little bit deeper than the one in the e.l.f. So I felt like my look really wasn't going to come out the same if I used the crease color. So I'm actually going to use a shimmer in my crease today, and I've been doing that a lot lately and really loving the result of it. So I'm choosing this one right here, which is this beautiful kind of deep burnt gold shimmer. And I'm just going to work that right into my crease. I really love this effect. For the longest time, I kept thinking I needed a matte shade to use as a crease color, but I'm just liking doing this more and more. I actually find that shimmer shades blend a lot easier than mattes do in your crease. So they're almost easier to work with. I don't know that I would use something that was like super glittery with glitter going everywhere, but this shimmer shade is just so perfect. Like, look at how pigmented it goes on, and it has that buttery feel, so it stays in place. It's not like fallout everywhere, but at the same time, it's also just so easy to blend out. Like, it's just a quick, I could even just leave this and just do like a one and done kind of a look. Then I'm just gonna clean off my brush really quickly, and I'm gonna use the similar shade in the Natasha Denona palette right here. And while the shades are slightly different, but I don't know if you guys can see on camera, the Natasha Denona one just is not blending out as effortlessly, just because I find that Natasha Denona's formula, it's just, for me, a little bit more difficult to blend. Next, I'm going to add some depth to my outer corner. I'm going to pick up this really deep brown shade right here, and I'm going to use the e.l.f. Detailed Crease Brush. This is a really tiny little brush, great for if you have hooded eyes. And it's actually really similar to my Sigma Detail Diffuse Crease Brush. This is kind of a little impromptu dupe. The Sigma one is slightly larger than this one. So the e.l.f. is just great for detail work, and it's only a couple of bucks. So it's really great. And when it comes to dark colors like this, I'm so glad that the e.l.f. formula is really blendable, because for me, this is where I get tripped up on eyeshadow application with the dark colors that are always just a little bit more difficult to blend, and they can sometimes look patchy, and this one just doesn't. It's just so easy. For the other side, I'm going to use the deepest shade in the Natasha Denona palette. This one is a little bit on the warmer side compared to the e.l.f. one, so again, it's not going to look exactly perfect, but we'll see how it goes. This is, I would say, more of an alternative than an actual spot-on dupe. And with Natasha Denona, I always pick up like the tiniest little bit of product, and I feel like I can always go back in and add more. But if you pick up too much, it just becomes like really difficult to blend out. Okay, so then the last shade I'm going to use is this shimmery champagne color right here, and I'm just going to apply this with my finger and apply it to my lid. And I'm going to focus this more on the inner corner and just kind of bring it to about the middle of my lid. I'm not going to go the whole way. And then same thing for the Natasha Denona. I'm just going to pick up this lightest shade right here and apply it the same way, just starting in the inner corner and going back towards the middle. All right, so eye look is done. It's just a very, very simple neutral eye look, and I feel like even despite the color differences, they both came out really, really similar to each other, and I think the bite-sized palette at $3 can definitely hold its own to the Natasha Denona at $25, so I love it. Moving on to mascara, I'm going to be using the Bite Beauty Upswing Mascara. This is $28 versus the e.l.f. Big Mood, which is $7, and I just found these two to be so similar. From the shiny metallic packaging to the size of the tubes, they're a little bit chunky and oversized. And then the brushes as well are both a little bit bigger, more oversized brushes. They have kind of that same hourglass shape. And I find that when I use either one of these mascaras, my lashes look exactly the same. So let's go ahead and apply Big Mood to this side. With big brushes, I always have to be careful not to get mascara on my lids, so I'm just going to do this very, very carefully. So what I really like about the Big Mood mascara is just how much volume it gives you. It gives so much volume without clumps and making your lashes like look all goopy and stick together. And it just kind of gives you that false lash effect, which I really, really love. It also doesn't smudge under my eyes. It doesn't flake. It lasts all day. So it's just a really great mascara all the way around. So here's a look at before over there with no mascara and then with the e.l.f. Big Mood. It just, right? It gives me such big lashes, and also it kind of curls them up a little bit, which I really like too. And I feel like the Bite Beauty Upswing Mascara also just gives you so much volume, not a ton of length, but a little bit. And that's just like the e.l.f. one. I feel like, there we go. I just got some on my eyelid. I feel like the application is the same. The process of applying it, it feels the same. I would say they're both more of a wet formula than dry for sure. It basically feels like I'm using the exact same mascara. It's just that this one cost a lot more money. Okay, so I can't tell the difference between my lashes at all. I feel like they look identical. So let me just clean up that little smudge on my lid and then we'll move on. All right, moving on to blush. I'm going to be using the Tower 28 Beach Please Cream Blush in the shade Golden Hour. I just love how beautiful this color is. I feel like it just wakes up my face. It's just gorgeous. And the dupe that I have from e.l.f. is their Putty Blush in the shade Bahamas. I think these are so similar to each other. So the Tower 28 blush will run you $20 while the e.l.f. is $6. So again, another really big price difference. I do think that the formulas feel a little bit different. The Tower 28 blushes start out as more of a sticky feel, while the e.l.f. ones feel a little bit more putty-like. They're a little bit smoother and they don't have that stickiness to them. But once they're blended out on your cheeks, I feel like they look exactly the same. So let's start with the e.l.f. Putty Blush, and I'm going to be applying it with the e.l.f. Putty Blush Brush. That was hard to say. And just like I mentioned with the Tower 28 blush, this is just such a beautiful peachy color. It really just wakes up my face. It's gorgeous. I also think that the e.l.f. blushes are a little bit more buildable. So the Tower 28, I think, are a little more pigmented right out of the gate. You have to be careful with how much you pick up, especially if you have lighter skin like I do, because once you put too much blush, that's it. It's kind of really hard to tone it down at that point. So I like blushes that kind of start out a little bit more sheer, and then you can always just dip back in and pick up a little bit more and just add, to your heart's content. All right, so I'm just going to clean off the brush and then apply the Tower 28, and you guys will see this color is so, so close. So yeah, right away you can kind of see like this lays down a lot of color, so you just have to be careful not to pick up too much on your brush. And then I find that I spend a little bit more time blending these just because I do sometimes pick up a little bit too much. But yeah, doesn't the color look so similar? feel like there's really like no difference between the two at all. And it's just like the perfect kind of happy peachy nude color. I love it. And then last but not least for lips, I'm going to be using the Persona E-Balm in the shade Meditate and the e.l.f. Sheer Slick Lipstick in the shade Golden Pear. So the Persona costs $22 while the e.l.f. is only $5. And I have to say, the e.l.f. formula feels so similar to the Persona. It's really, really comfortable on your lips. It's basically like a tinted lip balm. So you're getting a lot of hydration with both of these and a little hint of shine, nothing super shiny like a gloss, but I find these two colors to be really similar. They're ones that I reach for very, very often just because it's just a really easy wearable nude. So I'm going to apply the e.l.f. just to this side of my lips. And then the Persona over here. I feel like the e.l.f. side is just slightly darker than the Persona, but they're close. They're pretty close. And like I said, they feel exactly the same on your lips. Both sides feel very moisturized and just have that little bit of shine, which I absolutely love. So if you're looking for an amazing tinted lip balm that actually packs a punch when it comes to color, I don't feel like these are super sheer. Definitely check out the e.l.f. I think these are amazing for $5. They have another one called Black Cherry or Black Raspberry. It's something like that. And I showed that in a previous dupes video, and it is like a spot-on dupe for Clinique's Black Honey lipstick. And I know that one's kind of gone viral lately. So if you're looking for a cheaper, more affordable alternative, definitely check out the e.l.f. Sheer Slick because I think that's another amazing option. All right, guys, so here is the finished look. This side of my face cost $54 and this side was $212.50. And honestly, I can't tell the difference from the foundation to the blushes to the eyeshadow, the mascara. I mean, everything is just pretty much spot on, so similar. So it honestly just goes to show you, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get the same looks these days. Drugstore has just come so far, and e.l.f. Cosmetics, they just have so many amazing, amazing products that are virtually indistinguishable from high end. So I would love to hear your thoughts. What are your favorite e.l.f. products? Do you have any e.l.f. dupes that I should try out for my next video? I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Also, I would like to thank e.l.f. again for sponsoring this video. I had so much fun putting this together, and I hope you guys had just as much fun watching it. Thank you all so much for spending your time here with me. I appreciate it so much. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you like dupe videos and drugstore makeup, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care. Bye.